and we had to go in and actually take all the paint off of all the siding, about 75% of it, down to bare wood, and go from there. And I lost a ton of money on that project. And I was like, I'm not training right. I don't have my systems right. I'm constantly on the project, constantly having to do the spraying, having to guide the guys, having to do this, having to do that. And I was like, I've got to change this. And that was the moment I was like, went home, I cried, and I need to change. So that's what happened there.
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. What's up, everyone? Mike Hickman, founder of PainterGrowth.com, and you're listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. I am joined today by our client, my friend, and awesome business owner, Stephen Reynolds. What's up, man? Welcome to have you.
How are we doing, Mike?
I am doing great and really stoked to talk to you today. And yeah, I mean, I'll tease the story a little bit, right? We're going to go through kind of your journey here of your painting business before and after, but you do some pretty high level ice dancing, right?
Correct. Yeah, we ice dance with my sister, and she's my business partner as well. So we've basically done everything together. So.
Amazing. And what's really cool about that is you compete on a national level.
Absolutely. Yeah, we went to nationals 6 times between 2014 and 2019, and
every year.
Every year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then
any medals in that?
No medals. No medals. Okay. Placed the top 10. Once, twice, something like that.
Okay.
So it was good though.
But long story short is that now with your business, you have enough time to be able to do that every day.
Absolutely. Yes. We're back into it slowly but surely, inching our way back into training.
I love it. Love anything athletic that people pursue.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah. So let's start out at the very beginning. So tell me about your business before you found Painter Growth. What was your company like?
It was owner operated and owner, what would you call it, fulfilled. So it was my sister and me always doing it all the time. I attempted some hiring stuff and it didn't go very well. And then I would say around, what was it? I signed up with you guys in February, I believe, 23. In June of 22, I had my first hire and he stuck with me.
Was it February 23, that long ago?
Yes, I know.
Crazy.
I know. It's been a bit. But I was also doing college at the time, part-time, 2-3 courses a semester. And it was just hectic. I was going crazy all the time. And the one guy that I did hire did stick with me for a while, but I realized I didn't onboard him properly, didn't train him properly. And I would say that was one of the biggest mistakes I made in my business, was the way I hired him, because that kind of foretold, I would say, that what actually prevented me from implementing a lot of the systems that you guys gave me in that first year. So I feel like I would have had a lot more growth if I would have taken an assessment of the employees I had, made some changes. If I lost them, so what, and then gone and hired some more. But it was very crazy, I would say.
Okay, so to recap that, you're solo painter, you and your sister were running the business. You tried hiring a couple of times with hilarious results.
Oh, yes. That's a good way to put it. Hilarious results. That's good.
Okay, cool. So I guess what happened along the path during your journey that made you think that something has to change?
It was like one of those brush busters. It was like the last Brush Busters episode, the Halloween episode. It was one of those. I remember I had, what was it? It was a project where my sister and I were working on it. And I had, how many guys have at the time? I think I had 6 at the time. And we were working on this big Victorian exterior project. And I quoted it a certain price, way too low, but didn't know at the time. And I told the lady, just light scrape, light sand, and paint won't look perfect. She was fine with it. Nothing wrong with her. But what I didn't realize is after we put the primer coat on, as soon as I put it on one side of this 3-story Victorian, it began to peel underneath. And we had to go in and actually take all the paint off of all the siding, about 75% of it, down to bare wood, and go from there. And I lost a ton of money on that project. And I was like, I'm not training right. I don't have my systems right. I'm constantly on the project, constantly having to do the spraying, having to guide the guys, having to do this, having to do that. And I was like, I've got to change this. And that was the moment I was like, went home, I cried, and I need to change. So that's what happened there.
So you had this like house from hell, everything went wrong, and then that caused you to kind of take a good hard look at the entire business. You're like, this kind of sucks.
Absolutely. This isn't working.
Yeah. Was it just you stripping that paint? Or did you have any helpers?
I had the helpers. So I actually have videos of all the guys. I bought like 4 or 5 grinders. I got those, I call them deck eaters, but it's a diamond brush put on there. And we were going across all siding, and then we were sanding it. Then we're filling with some like exterior spackle, then sanding that back down. So yeah, it was it was like 85, 90 degrees outside. So we wore the masks, so we didn't know what kind of lead paint might be on there, things like that. And we wore the hoodies, so like all this.
It was a lead project too.
Yeah, and we had because of when we hit the wood, all the wood chips would go flying too. So we were absolutely covered in it, sweating, sticking. It was terrible. It was an awful project.
Oh man.
Yep.
So things are going terrible. You went home, had a little cry, which is fine, totally respectable. We've all been there.
Oh yeah.
What did you search for? How did you end up finding us?
Basically, ironically, what happened was I was looking to get more leads because after that project, there was a couple.
Always the start. That's what people want at the start, but that's not what they need.
I know, because I had, and this is part of the nightmare. Part of the reason why I needed to change something is because I was a part of the Angie Ads program where you're paying monthly for the leads to come in. And going into the winter, I started to get, I was getting a lot of leads, but they were low quality. And then I would also get people saying, I never signed up for this. I would get people speaking Spanish asking for a job. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I would say between October and March of 22 to 23, I got maybe 4 jobs out of Angie. And I was paying them $2,600 a month. I was like, this is not working. So what attracted me to you guys is you guys would say you'd set up the Facebook ads for us. I was like, okay, that might be worth it. So that's what started. I thought, I don't know if I really need coaching. And I'll admit, I'm not the most coachable type. So I was like, but definitely the Facebook ads part. And that's when I signed up with you guys. And I started watching the stuff. And I'm a bit of a pig-headed and hard-headed, I would say, because when I was watching, I'm like, well, that makes sense, but I don't know who really does that. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, I guess it does make sense. And I was always tossing it around what you guys were saying and everything. But I would say what really solidified it for me was actually this past year when I stopped college for the time being. And because I just took a course on like logo design and website design, and I was really getting into the actual online marketing aspect of it. And I thought, I can really see how this can work after hearing all the success stories within the group. And that's what really made me begin to change how I systematized everything. And I brought in some new employees under the new system, and it's been working great since.
So you didn't think you needed coaching at the start? How do you feel about that thought now?
You definitely need it, because you can learn it, but if you want to take something you can learn 10 years and learn it in a month, get coaching. Mm-hmm. Because it's not like the coaches are going to do it for you. It's not like, in each situation is slightly different. So you could take the information from the coaching and you're going to apply it to what you're doing and experiment with it. I'm huge into experimentation. You have to trial and error your way there. But do you want to trial and error your way there with no knowledge, or with somebody who's had the experience?
Yeah. Now, we offered to build your Facebook ads. You kind of get started. You went through the videos a bunch of times. What was like the first couple of weeks like, if you remember back to last year? Do you remember what kind of your onboarding experience was like?
Yeah, I would say for me at first it was overwhelming, because when I first looked at it, I thought I didn't know this much went into a business. I thought it was just simple. And I was like, well, the hardest part for me was like, if you could just get somebody who can work and do the work, then you're good. And it's like, no, that's not it. That's not just it. You have so many other things that you need to do on top of that. And I guess it made sense. And I was like, okay, well, if I just take my time and I go through this stuff, maybe I'll get it. And then I would start to go through and be like, nah, maybe I don't need it. But it was just overwhelming, I would say, was the first couple of weeks, just because I had no idea. But
okay. So I just want to mention that was a year ago. We've gotten better at not overwhelming people at the start. then it was a big focus. So as you've kind of been going, like, what have you noticed in terms of the changes in your business?
The changes, I would say, is the respect I have from my employees. That was the big thing, big difference. By having the SOPs written, by having the employee contracts written, all the graphics done, the lawn signs, just overall being professional gains a lot of respect from the guys that you hire. That's what I struggled with in the beginning, actually, the most. So I would say respect from the people around you and the people you give estimates to. Every single time I give an estimate, they say you're the most professional guy you've seen. And that wins so many projects for me.
Yeah. I mean, you went from not being able to have employees to actually bringing on a solid crew. What does your crew look like now?
Our crew is 4 guys right now. So not including my sister and me, I have 4 guys. 2 of them are kind of like the lead painters. The other 2 are more like assistant painters. That's what I'm focused on now. Going into winter, because I have the leads, I can focus on hiring. And I wanted to focus on hiring in the winter because that's when guys are looking to have work. So that's why I feel I have a bigger pool of people to pick from during that time frame.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what did you do like the 12 months before you joined Painter Growth or before you started taking it seriously? Like what was monthly revenue kind of like?
Monthly revenue, I'd say, was around 20 to 24,000 a month, in that range. Yeah.
Okay. And then compare that to now. What are you kind of doing on a monthly basis now?
It varied. This year was a little bit slower, but I would hit at least 40,000 all the way up to 60,000.
Okay. And then before you joined, what was your day-to-day? What did your day-to-day look like?
Oh, it was getting up at 5:30 in the morning, running over to my storage unit, getting everything ready, going to the projects first thing, trying to get guys set up. We're trying to hire. Basically, as soon as I get a lead, I'd have to run off the job site, and everyone would kind of stand around and wait for me to come back, and just constant running. Wore every hat. It was crazy, and
okay.
Yeah.
And taking every ounce of your effort to squeak in 20K.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was insane.
And so now doing 40 to 60, what does your day-to-day look like?
So now obviously I have ice time from 8 to 9 a.m. So what that did for me when I signed up for that, because I was like, can we do 7 to 8? That way I can get to the projects before my guys are there at 9, because we start at 9 in my area. And they were like, no, it's the earliest you can go is from 8 to 9. So I was like, okay. That really forced me to not be there on the job first thing in the morning. Because I would start the guys first thing in the morning and then go off mid-afternoon somewhere else, like go give estimates or come to my office and work on things, work on admin stuff. But by me forcing myself to not be there, it really pushed me to train my lead guy to actually open the job, talk to the customers. And it's to the point now where he can open a job, do the job, complete the job, and be out of there, and get the review and be out of there. And I don't even have to, I'm just there for the estimate, and that's it. So that was huge for me.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So so not only are you doing 2 to 3 times more revenue, but you're working just way less and things are a lot slower paced.
Way less. The great thing is I have time now to really work on my business. Like you say, work on your business, not in your business. And I feel I have that now because my sister, she does the graphics. She focuses on outreach with some of the realtors. I focus on more like some website stuff or writing SOPs, just planning out the week, talking to my guys. So I'm a lot more sitting down than running around. Let's put it that way.
That's awesome. That's a good shift.
Oh yeah.
And I guess like with that being said, like how do you feel about the future of your business now?
I feel very positive. It's, next year, my goal is $1 million in revenue, but more than the number for me, it's the freedom, because I focus on, again, like I told you with skating, getting the foundation right. And I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, every single time you have an increase in your numbers, you have to have a foundation laid first before you increase that number. So like going from where I am between, 50 and 60K a month to 80 to 90K a month, you have to have some sort of foundation laid before you make that jump. And that's what I'm focusing on right now, so that come next year, come January, we can make it. So that's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I would say that it's possible to hit a bigger number without that foundation, but it's going to be temporary.
Right. Yes, I agree. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So just I guess with that being said, like if you think about the, okay, so you're excited about the future business, going to go for $1 million this year. Now, what would you say to someone who is like, oh, this painter growth thing, I don't think I need coaching, blah, blah, there's a lot of money to spend. What would you say to someone who's like on the fence like that?
I would say this. You can learn in 1 year with painter growth what will take you 10, 20 years outside of painter growth. So what is it? $5,000 investment, right? That's what it is, I believe. $6,000 investment or 10 to 20 years. Which would you prefer?
I mean, when you put it that way, right?
Always look at numbers. That's what I say. Always, because to me, the foundation of everything is numbers. And if you go back to that, then you can make a valuable and educated decision. And that's what I would say to do. So it's a no-brainer, but you have to look at the numbers so it makes sense to your brain. Then you can go do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. I strongly believe in coaching. It's funny, like every successful business owner really strongly believes in coaching, but it's the ones who are not successful that don't know if they need coaching, but they're the ones that need it the most.
Exactly.
Yeah. How did you, so just random, going back a little bit, how did you decide, with your sister that you guys wanted to spend, it was at the time $5,000 on a coaching program when you didn't really have that much money coming in?
What did it for me was I always looked at, you need to spend money to make money. And that's why I would say the first 2 years of when we were working, even like last year included, we focused on buying a bunch of tools. In fact, right now I'm moving storage units. So I'm moving into a 10 by 30 unit, and the amount of tools we have is absolutely insane. I mean, we could probably support a 6-guy crew, no problem. We can support like 3 or 4 exterior projects at a time. So when we looked at painter growth and looked at the investment, it's like, well, it's an investment. It's not just, oh, I want to buy, a $6,000 gaming computer or something like that. It's like, this is something that can produce money. So that's why I look at it as an investment. That's how we made that decision.
So what do you think your return on investment has been on that $5,000?
Oh, I mean, I don't even know. It's like way high. I would say 100,000, like over. It's amazing because it's not just now, it's in future as well. So, I mean, so take what, 5,000 and put that into, if you do $1 million worth of business next year, if I do that, what's that? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's insane.
It's not calculable.
Right. Exactly. Because it's not only just what you provide in the classroom, like in the videos you have, and also the calls that you have, but it's also in the community all around because, I've connected with a few, I've connected with Elijah, with Calvin, and a couple others in the group. And it's just like, it's not just the one thing, it's a community. So you're a part of something where everyone's going through the same stuff. I remember there was one guy in there that was going through a hard time, and I was like, man, I understand. I've gone through the same thing. Look, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I could tell that helped him out a lot. And then I've had situations like that. I'll admit I'm not as vocal about when I have a problem. I'm more like closer to myself and try to figure it out. But I'm not saying that's a good thing to do. But in the group, you have those people that can come out and help you. So it's invaluable to me. I would say it's like being a part of a family that can help you out with your business journey that no one else on the outside will really understand. You can't turn to your friends a lot of times in the real world to help you out. Like some of the friends that I've had in the past are just, for example, coaching skating, some from a skating background. And it's very competitive in that arena. But the main thing is that the idea of being a skating coach is completely different than being a business owner, because a skating coach, you're on the ice coaching and that's all you get. You're basically getting an hourly wage. But if you're running a business, your hourly wage is determined by how many guys you have working, how many leads you have coming in. So it's a completely different mindset. So it's like, I can't go to them and talk to them about problems. They're like, well, why are you doing that? But with this group, you have like-minded people who can come and assist and talk you through things. And even you can talk to them about things and they share things that, I can be like, I never thought of that before. So it's very valuable.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, are you coming to the mastermind in April?
It's in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Possibly. That's my homeland.
Perfect. What city are you in?
I'm in Philadelphia.
Okay. So a little bit of a flight, but Florida
I,
in April, I mean, it's a good spot.
I was just down there this past summer, and that's another thing. I had the freedom to go back down to Florida. I haven't been back to the east coast of Florida where I was born in like 20 years or so, and I was able to go back there, take a full week off, and the painting business was still running. It was amazing. So
Yeah.
that's just another thing. So, you know.
All right. No excuse. You better be there.
Okay. All right.
Cool. Thanks for being here, man. Any other like last things that you'd love to say to, people who are listening in on the fence, thinking about joining?
I would say if you are an intense person and you want to grow your business, then you need to join. And the group is very accommodating because I've seen people who take their time with it, and then there's other people who are more intense. I'm generally the more intense person. You can ask my sister. I would stay up until 2 a.m., get up at 5 for like weeks on end. Not saying it's healthy, but like that's level of intensity that I have, and that can be matched in the group. So I would say if you're an intense person, absolutely for sure, join the group. I mean, they'll match your intensity and even push you to do more in a positive way. So I'd say get going.
Yeah. Love it, man. Well, thanks for being here, and stoked to be part of your journey, dude. Appreciate you.
We'll keep growing.
Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.